Just for fun, I thought I'd have a look at different types of backpacks and panniers that I've seen in the last couple of days and discuss the strengths and weaknesses of using these for commuting and what I call functional cycling or active transport. So the first one is just the plain old ordinary backpack without a cover on it. Cheap, simple, you can get these things anywhere. Um, and they're quite good, except the problem with your typical backpack is you get a really sweaty back because it presses up against your back, and often if they're not really well fitted as you're riding, and especially if you're rocking from side to side going up a hill, they can shift quite a lot from side to side, and waterproofing on just a plain old non-specific cycling backpack can be an issue, because obviously if you're riding in the rain and you're carrying a business shirt and jocks and stuff into work, you don't want them to get wet. So you want something that's probably better than a normal backpack a lot of the time. What I have on the bike at the moment is what this bloke on the left has got. It's like a dual pannier system that fits over the back wheel on a frame, and it's got a bag on top. And on mine, those side panniers actually fold up, so it looks if you're not using them, it looks a lot neater and they don't flap around. And that's perfectly adequate for me to carry clothes to work, lunch if I want to take it in. And the other day I did an experiment where I dropped into the pool on the way home, and I took some bathers and snorkel and goggles and stuff like that, and had a swim because it was 36 degrees, and and it worked a treat, worked really well. Then we have a more advanced option, which this bloke on the right has got. You can see there's a cover over the backpack. Now you can either buy those covers separately. They're good because they're nice and bright and visible and high vis, but they're also waterproof. And I've got a fancy backpack which cost me over $100, and the cover is actually built into a pocket at the bottom. You unzip this zip, and it comes out, and it's attached, so you can't lose it, and it's very good. And then there's the last option is, well, it looks like he's pinched a backpack from his kids, and these can just be super useful if you're just zipping around the suburb to get something small. I actually do this myself. The kids have got Adventure Time backpacks, and I use one quite often, not for going into work, but for instance the pool's only less than a 10-minute ride from here. If we just need to ride over there with some sunscreen and a towel and some goggles, etc., why take a fancy backpack when you can use the Adventure Time one? They're roomy, they're very simple, and they do the job. I also use them when we're going up to the shops. I can fit the better part of a bag of shopping into one. So if I've got my panniers, each pannier can hold a bag, and I can stick a bag on my back. That I can carry quite a reasonable volume of shopping for that. Now the only downside is, I thought these things were cheap as chips, and I looked online and went, flippin' heck, for $50. I can't believe it. It was more than half the price of my fancy Deuter backpack. Now this Deuter one, the Air Express or whatever it is a great piece of kit. I really like it because it's got a frame, and the frame holds the backpack off your back. There's a gap of quite a few centimeters between your back and the backpack. Allows air to circulate, so on stinking hot days you don't end up with ridiculously sticky back. It's got lots of pockets and features galore, and it's especially good, I find, for mountain biking, because you can slip a camelback bladder into it, and it's got all the things to hold the tubes in place. I can take my tools and things, but I do find it's okay for going to work if all I'm carrying is socks and jocks and a shirt, and I'm carrying nothing else. Anything more than that, it's too small, it's too cramped, and particularly in winter it's a problem where you got these days where it's like 6 degrees in the morning, so you're all rugged up with 3 layers on, and it's 20 degrees coming home in the afternoon, and you've got to shed all these layers and arm warmers and leg warmers and stuff, and where do you put them? Well, I can tell you what, it's a real struggle cramming them into this a small backpack like this. And this is why I switched over to the panniers, and the panniers I'm seeing are becoming more and more popular. The double ones I find are really good, except they're damn near impossible to get on and off. It's fine if you've just got them fixed and you don't need to remove them. They're really good. The single pannier system, the way that usually works is you've got the frame over the back wheel, and these things just clip on, and they've got a handle on the top, and so you can load it up in the house with whatever you're taking to work, take it out there, clip it onto the bike, ride to work, unclip it, go and get, go and take it to the change rooms or take it to the office, whatever you want to do. Or if you're going shopping, you can actually carry it around the supermarket as your shopping bag and then just come out and plonk it on the bike. The only downside to them is they're really easy to steal, and I've actually seen people saying online in forums, etc., that, oh, my pannier fell off halfway home, has anyone found it? So for that reason, I wouldn't necessarily recommend them. But the dual fix system, I think, is absolutely marvelous. So anyway, there's just some options and different uses for these things. Certainly the biggest inhibitor I see in Australia to people adopting panniers is attitude, and that's because we still have this attitude of cycling as a speedy sport, and people want to set their bikes up like professionals that they see at the Tour Down Under, for instance. Absolutely minimal, putting bugger all stuff on them. They're all built around speed on the road. Whereas I can go and watch the racing at Bathurst, and I don't feel like I need to come back and fit my car with a roll cage and automatic fire extinguishers and wear a Nomex suit and a helmet and stuff when I'm driving my car. The car is a functional thing that we use to transport ourselves and things from place to place. And the attitude, I think you just need to change your mental attitude to the bike and say, well, this is not a sports thing or utility, whatever you want to call it. It's a functional thing which I use to transport myself or things from A to B. And when you can make that mental transition, it's a hell of a lot easier to go, oh, well, I'll just chuck panniers on the back, and yeah, I can go with flat bars, and I don't necessarily need to have clip-ins, and I can just get on the bike and use it functionally and get some exercise through active transport, and not worry whether I'm meeting the rules of the velominati.